Another article from the Daily Wire says a 9-year-old girl who was one of the 3 school children gunned down by the Nashville shooter inside a Christian school was desperately trying to stop the massacre by pulling on a fire alarm when she was murdered. And there, as I mentioned yesterday, there have been many stories and reports of heroism inside the school, and including one of the teachers that was killed was apparently running towards the shooter, trying to protect her children. And in this case, it was Evelyn who was running to pull the fire alarm to protect her classmates and her school. Incredible bravery. Also infuriating because that little girl should not have been in a situation where she was called on to be heroic, which is why we need armed security in all the schools. It's incredible to hear about the stories of teachers that are rushing at shooters, unarmed teachers rushing at shooters, small children that are acting to try to protect their classmates. These are heroic acts, but they shouldn't be in a position where they have to do that. Okay, teachers shouldn't be in a position who are unarmed, shouldn't be in a position of having to throw themselves at armed assailants. Which is why, again, there need to be guns in the school, guns that are carried by the good guys, armed security, armed teachers. We need all of that. And that's, if that's not just apparent by now to everyone, then I don't know. At what point does it become clear? But of course, on the left, they go the other direction. Here's Randy Weingarten calling for the repeal of the Second Amendment in response to this.
An epidemic that our great nation must solve. And how many lives will be shattered before we have the courage to do what Scotland did, what Australia did, what New Zealand did, what other great democracies do? We must solve this epidemic. And that's up to us.
Yeah, that is directly calling for the repeal of the Second Amendment and a kind of unilateral disarmament, and it's not going to happen. And you think, especially now, see, the way it works in their twisted heads is after an event like this, they think this is the perfect time to make this argument. People are going to be even more receptive to the propaganda because they're afraid of quote unquote gun violence. And so people are going to be even more willing to lay down their arms and get rid of their guns. But of course, for rational, normal people, it's exactly the opposite. Okay, we are not, because we're Americans and we have rights and the Second Amendment does exist and it's not going to be repealed, we're not receptive to the idea of disarming in general. But we are the least receptive of all right after an event like this. Because this only highlights yet again why we need to be armed. It's a very simple equation. Evil exists in the world, evil people exist in the world. And if we ever encounter them, we don't want them to have the upper hand. That's it. That's all. And that'll do it for this portion of the show. As we move over to the members block, you can become a member today and use code Walsh at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Hope to see you there. If not, talk to you tomorrow. Godspeed.